Hello everybody! So today we're going to be doing another tier list, and this one will be about the Apex Legends. And I thought, well, since the last one did so badly, well, why not do another one? So the tiers for this one are the worst legends that have ever existed, bad legends, okay legends, fun to play legends, and then my three main legends, which are my three ones I play the most and are my favorite ones, obviously. So I was originally gonna do like videos, but I thought about that and like, oh well, I might get sued and I don't want to do that. So I'll just leave, like, I don't know, I might leave a tag for the Apex Legends channel in the videos. You can go check those out yourself. So for the first legend we're going to be rating, it's Catalyst, and she's the newest legend. And basically her abilities are okay, so legends have three abilities. They've got a passive one, which is just always active. They have a tactical, which you can activate, and some of them will have like multiple uses and then you have to wait a couple seconds. Some will have like a one-time use and then you have to wait a couple seconds. And then you've got your ultimate, which is like your super special move there, which you get eventually. And you use it once and then it recharges again for you to use again. So Catalyst's abilities, their passive is she can go up to a door, and I don't know how you'd say this, but she kind of like covers it up with like special goop, black goop, and it makes it stronger. And basically in the game you can kick down doors, and normally it's 2 hits until the door breaks, but when Catalyst puts the sticky goop on it, it takes 4. And then she can also like rebuild doors entirely made out of goop when they're destroyed, and those are only 2 kicks. So that's her passive. Her tactical you can use twice before it has to recharge, and it's basically like a spike strip. So when you're on it, you will be slowed down, and the spike strip will obviously deal damage to you over time, which is actually very useful when you're like trying to like get away or like block an entrance to Sane's. And then her ultimate, which is really fun, is she basically puts up a giant wall that you can't see through, and it's completely black, and if you walk through it you are temporarily blinded, and you're also slowed down by a lot. And it also was originally supposed to not let you scan through there too, because some of the legends have scanning abilities, but yeah, that proved useless. So Catalyst, I actually put in okay legends. There's a lot of other defense legends that I actually think are better than Catalyst, but she's not bad, she's just okay, which is why she's in the okay legends tier list. And next up is Ashe, which is a newer legend. She's released in season 11. Yeah, season 11. And her passive is really cool. She can, whenever somebody dies, she can see where they've died on the map. So like you can just look at your map and see where people have died, which is really cool because that means you can like kind of track people down and hunt them. And then her tactical is a snare, so it's got a one-time use before it has to recharge. So she basically throws a snare out, and if it hits somebody, it can snatch onto that one person it hits and temporarily stop them from moving. But they have a little area where they can move, but they can't move really far from the snare, or else they'll be stopped. And then her ultimate is actually very useful. She like takes out her sword, where you can see kind of right there, and then she can aim it, and then when you click the attack button to activate it, she can teleport right to wherever she was looking, but obviously there is a radius to that too. And then she leaves behind a little portal so that anybody else can follow her through that portal too. So Ashe, in my opinion, is fun to play Legend. I like to play around with Ashe. But yeah, she's pretty fun. She's better than Catalyst in my opinion. She's also an Assault Legend too, and to make things even better, she's part of the Titanfall lore too, which is amazing. So next up we have Bangalore, and Bangalore was one of the first legends to ever be released into the game. She's also one of the free legends that you immediately unlock. You're just given her. So basically what her passive is, whenever she's shot at, she can actually run faster, and it actually gives her a pretty decent boost too, which is really cool because you obviously can get away from enemies faster. And sorry, she's also an assault legend too. But her tactical has 2 uses for recharges, and it's basically you shoot out a smoke bomb, and then a big area is just covered in smoke, and you can't see in it at all. Like, the enemies can't see in it, you can't see in it, it's just you're pretty much blind in there. And let me tell you, it is very annoying to use. And then her ultimate is a... oh, what's it called again? She basically throws down a flare, and then missiles start shooting from the sky, landing in the ground in a very large radius too. Like, this covers a large area. And then after a couple seconds, they'll all start exploding. What's the word for that again? It's sky barrage or something? I think it is barrage incoming. Something like that, but in my opinion, Bangalore is okay. She'd probably be in the fun to play legends if she had the ability to see through her own smoke. But she doesn't have that ability, which kinda sucks, so... Plus, I can't see through it at all. I know, like, some people... like, you can see silhouettes in the smoke, but it's obviously hard to see those too. Next up we have Bloodhound, and he is a recon legend, meaning he does scanning abilities and stuff. And so his passive is basically like a tracking thing, so you can see the footprints of your enemies and what they've been doing for a couple seconds. Well, not like a couple seconds, I think they last for about a minute until they disappear. But yeah, you can follow the footprints. They'll show if they've been walking, sliding, jumping, if there's been a battle here, if they've been healing, reviving. But yeah, it's really good, like really good, and it's also really fun too, because I find it's very fun tracking down your enemies like across the map. That's just fun, and I know I have a lot of fun with it. And then his tactical is a one-time usage before it has to recharge, and it's a scan. It scans, I think it's like an okay radius, around him, and he'll scan all the enemies in that radius, and he'll show like a marker. He'll put a marker on them so you can see them even through walls, because it's wall hacks, for a couple seconds until it disappears, and then at the top of your screen it also shows you how many enemies you scan too. So if there's like 5 enemies in an area and you scan all of them and say 5 enemies, Now, if there was 5 enemies, but one of them avoided your scan, it would only be 4 enemies. And then his ultimate is like one of the best things about him. It is, so basically he gets a really big speed buff. He also gets heat vision, so everything else goes gray, but wherever people have been walking and moving around is red, and obviously the enemies are red too, so you can easily hunt and track people down like that. Plus obviously the passive helps a lot with that too. And every time you get a knock, oh yeah, sorry, this only lasts for, I think it's 30 seconds, but every time you get like a knockdown or a kill, that time increases by a couple of seconds. I think it's 5. So Bloodhound is one of my 3 main legends. He's not my main legend, the one I use the most. He is the second one. And he is, in my opinion, the best recon in the game. Just because he's so fun to use. A lot of other recons, well, they've got interesting things, but some of them are like very boring to play as too. But Bloodhound is like, you need skill to use him properly. Like you really need skill in order to use him, because it takes skill hunting down people, obviously, and hunting in real life, and then killing the target. But yeah, Bloodhound is just amazing, and I love playing him. So next up we've got Caustic, who is a defense legend, and he's got lots of the best stuff in the game. So his passive is Nox Vision. So basically, okay, so Caustic is a gas trapper, so he puts gas traps around, and obviously gas pops out of him when enemies are near. So his passive allows him to see through his gas, because other enemies can't when they're inside Caustic's gas. They get a blurred up screen, but Caustic can see right through it. He also doesn't take damage from his gas and any other Caustic's gas either. So then obviously his tactical has 3 uses before it needs to recharge again, and that is obviously placing down the gas traps. And whenever, you can also pick up these traps too, but whenever an enemy walks near it, it will pop, and then gas will start damaging the players, and it'll increase the damage will increase every second until it kills them, which is amazing. And then his ultimate is a gas grenade, which you can see right here, right there. So then, he basically throws down a gas grenade, and it explodes into a blanket of gas covering a very wide area. And anybody inside that takes damage, other than Caustics, obviously. And it's just amazing, and he's awesome. Plus, he has another little quirk to him too, where the damage he takes is reduced by 15%, and he isn't slowed down by bullets, because in the game, if you're shot, you get slowed down for a little bit. Caustic doesn't have to worry about that. And Caustic is my my main legend. I play him the most, and he's my favorite because, well, I actually love gas characters in shooter games. Anybody with gas, and I'll play them. Oh, and I also forgot to mention another amazing thing about Bloodhound 2. Now they added him another ability, so you will find white ravens on the map, and if you go up to them, they will actually guide you to enemies. Even if there's no footprints around or anything, they will literally show you the direction to enemies. And that's amazing too, because it actually shows these giant arrows on your map to where the Raven's heading to. Also, black ravens show up where people have died, which is actually pretty cool too. So I forgot to mention that about Bloodhound, but yeah, Caustic is my favorite legend in the game. So moving on, we have Crypto. He was the second legend to be added into the game after its release. And Crypto's pretty cool, so his passive is, well, it's called the Neuralink. And it just like, when he's in his drone, because he has a drone, he can just share all the information he gets from his drone with other people. It's, it's fair. Then his tactical, obviously, is his drone. He can just deploy it and redeploy it whenever he wants. So, sorry, deploy it and then recall it. And basically, there's a large amount of space you can fly around with his drone until it gets too far, and then it stops moving. But yeah, his drone is his entire thing. Without his drone, Crypto is useless. But you can scan enemies with it. You can open doors with it. You can open loot bins with it. You can even grab your teammates' banners off their death boxes, because when you die in this game, you get a little death box, and you run up to that, and you get their banner off of that. And the Crypto's drone can do that. And Crypto's drone can even respawn people with their banners with that too. So Crypto's drone is pretty good, in my opinion. Also, his ultimate is an EMP. So it's a rather large radius, will be closed in with a giant EMP. Oh, sorry. And anybody inside the EMP will take, I think it's 50 damage to their shields. It'll also stun them too, which is really cool. So Crypto, in my opinion, is a fun to play legend, and it's all because of his drone. I also like the design of the character too. I actually like the designs of all of the legends in this game. Caustic, Bloodhound, and Revenant and Watson's designs being, and Mirage's being some of my favorites. But yeah, there's Crypto, and moving on with Fuse. He was released in Season 8, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Season 8. And he's basically a Grenadier, which means he's an expert in grenades, so his passive allows him to hold 2 grenades. Oh, I completely forgot. Caustic's a defense legend, and Crypto is a recon. Fuse is an assault legend. So, anyways, Fuse can carry 2 grenades in one slot in his inventory, because normally he can only carry 1 grenade in one slot, but he can carry 2, which is pretty cool. He also can throw the grenades at a larger distance, because he's got a robot arm, which you can see right there, which actually counts as a rocket or a grenade launcher. It can just fire grenades. Then his tactical, which you can use twice before having it to recharge, is a cluster bomb. So you can basically, just like the grenade launcher, you can shoot cluster bombs out, and, well, they explode and they do what a cluster bomb does. And then his ultimate is basically a mortar cannon. He takes it off his back. You can aim it. It can go really far too, like ridiculously far. and you basically shoot it, and it'll explode above where you aimed it, and then a ring of fire will circle around where uh where it was aimed and shot at, obviously. But I've noticed that he's pretty fun to use because if you get people stuck inside that ring, you can throw in like a Bangalore's ultimate or Gibraltar's ultimate, we'll get to him soon, or Caustic's ultimate and deal extra damage inside there. But yeah, Fuse in my opinion is fun to play no matter what the people tell you. So then we have Gibraltar, who is a defense. Sorry, I keep forgetting the new update. He's not a defense legend anymore. He's actually a support legend now, which makes more sense. So his passive, he basically has a gun shield. So if you zoom in, he can activate a gun shield, which will protect you from a lot of damage. And he also has the same quirk that Caustic has, where he takes 15% reduced damage and isn't slowed down by bullets. His tactical is a one-time use before it recharges, and it's basically a dome shield which your opponents can't shoot through, but they can walk through it. But also inside this dome, you can revive your opponents, or sorry, your teammates faster. I think it's like 4 seconds. And then his ultimate is kind of similar to Bangalore's, except he throws it down, and in a certain radius, basically just meteors, almost like, I think I call them meteors, but are just missiles, but they fall down from the sky dealing a lot of damage in that radius, and they also have splash damage too. So Gibraltar is another fun to play legend in my opinion. I really like his style too. Like it's very cool. And obviously, well, very fun. So then we have Horizon, who is, oh, I forget, but I won't bother with the seasons anymore. I'm starting to forget. But yeah, Horizon is actually in the new class called Skirmisher, which is based around movement and escape methods. So yeah, Horizon is in the Skirmisher class, and her passive, basically if you like jump off a building with any other legend, you will be slowed down for like I think 1 or 2 seconds before you get back to your normal speed. Horizon doesn't have that. She just falls down, and then she isn't slowed down at all, which is really helpful. Then her tactical is a one-time use before it recharges. It's a gravitational lift, so you'll throw a little something down, and basically if you go on top of that, you can actually hover up and get you higher places. So if you want to get onto a roof, you can just use her tactical, which is really helpful. And then her ultimate is a black hole, basically. You throw it down, and then anything in a smaller radius will get sucked in towards it. And it's really good, and it's actually why she has been played in a lot of the tournaments. Because people will carry grenades in there, they'll throw down the black hole, and then they'll throw the grenades in there, and they pretty much kill them instantly. But you can break the black hole too. But Horizon is fun to play, and I'm not sure there's going to be too many bad legends or the worst legends that have ever existed in here. I find most of them are fun to play. So then we have Lifeline, which is one of the first legends you have. She was the first support legend, and she was amazing. Well, she is amazing. So her passive is basically whenever she revives somebody, she doesn't have to revive them herself. she can use a drone to revive them, which means if both of your teammates are knocked down, she can revive both of them at the same time. Except nobody ever does that. Um, so then, her tactical, which is one-time use before it recharges, is a heal bot. So if you stand next beside it, it will heal your health, which is very good, but eventually will disappear. But yeah, it's very good because right after you revive somebody, you can put the bot, like the drone down, and they can just heal them while they restore their shields. And then her ultimate is a care package, which drops down from the sky and uh, gives you like things you need for your team, so like shield batteries, Evo shields, knockdown shields, all the good stuff, attachments for your weapons. But yeah, Lifeline. Okay, I also want to state another thing. Before, Lifeline also had a shield that would also be used when reviving people, but they took that away because it was way too powerful. So now it's just the drone. But yeah, Lifeline is still fun to play even without the shield. So then moving on, we have Loba, and well, Loba is another support legend. She was the second support legend, and okay, so I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't really enjoy playing Loba at all. Um, in fact, anytime I see a Loba in game, I call them a looting Loba, and I'll explain that soon. So her passive is basically she can see epic and legendary and red items through walls and through anything, meaning she can just see where all the best stuff is, when your teammates can't. Now that actually does come in handy, so if there's like a purple Evo shield in a bin and there's like an opponent nearby and you're about to die, you can go to the bin, equip that, so that's not that bad. Here's where things start getting worse. Her tactical is a one-time use, and it's kind of like a teleporting bracelet, so she takes her bracelet off, and you can throw it to a very lousy distance, and you basically teleport to wherever it lands. You can also choose whenever it lands too by tapping the button again. But yeah, right after you teleport to where you want it to go, it does this little animation where she picks up the bracelet and puts it back on her arm before you get your gun out again, meaning you're vulnerable for those, I think, like 5 seconds. And yeah, it's not very good, but it is fairly good at getting away from situations. It's also good for getting to high grounds as well. But then her ultimate is the best thing. It is a black market. She puts it down, and then you can open it up, and in a very large radius, you can loot things from it, but you can only loot 2 things before you're not allowed to loot anymore. But you are allowed to like take infinite ammo, which makes sense. But yeah, she can also loot things from vaults too, which are normally locked, and you need a key to open them. But yeah, Loeb, in my opinion, is a bad legend. I really do not like her at all, despite what all the fan art might say. So then we have Mad Maggie, who is pretty cool. She is a relationship to Fuse, but I'm not gonna say anything about that. So she is also an assault legend too. Her passive allows her to run faster while holding a shotgun, and it actually makes it faster than your normal running speed too, which is really good. And her passive also allows her to, whenever you damage somebody, you can see them for a little bit. Like there will be a little marker on them for a little bit, and then it'll disappear. But that's not very important. Then her tactical is a one-time use. It is a drill, so you can basically shoot a drill out, and it like at a wall, and it'll do like a fire attack through that wall. So if there's anybody behind that wall that you shot the drill at, they will get damaged, and they'll actually have burn damage too, which is really good. And then her ultimate is pretty good actually. It is well, it's called the Wrecking Ball, but I don't really know what it actually is. So she throws down Wrecking Ball, it bounces, and then every time it bounces, it puts down a speed boost marker. So if you walk on it, it gives you a really good speed boost. And then if there's any enemies where the ball like lands, it'll just explode right in their face and knock them back and stun them, which is really good. And that is why Mad Maggie's fun to play. I think Mad Maggie is actually an underrated legend too, just like Crypto and Fuse and Ash. And Caustic and Bloodhound too. And Watson and a lot of legends actually. But yeah, moving on, we have Mirage. Now Mirage is one of my favorite legends, but he's not in my 3 main legends. He probably would be, but there's just another legend I prefer. So Mirage is basically a cloner. He's also in the Skirmisher class too. So his passive. Oh, what's his passive again? Oh yeah, that's right. When reviving somebody, he can go completely invisible for the length when he's reviving, and then this was just added because he just got a major buff too. After you're done reviving, both you and your teammate will stay invisible for like 3 more seconds, and it is just amazing. Then his tactical, which is a one-time use before it quickly recharges, is a clone. So you can basically make a clone of yourself, which you can move around and stuff, tell it where to go. But it can't shoot, obviously, can't heal or anything. It's just a decoy, basically. So you can run away and, well, bamboozle your opponents. And trust me, I've been bamboozled before. Then his ultimate is like the real star. For a couple seconds, you'll go invisible, and then suddenly a ring of mirages will just appear out of nowheres, and your opponents are very much bamboozled after that, and they have to figure out which one is the real you, while you're just moving around, dancing, doing emotes, which make even more mirages, because there are some that do that, and it gets really confusing, and then you can just kill them because they'll have no idea what on earth is going on. But yeah, he's really fun to play. I love playing him actually. So then we have Newcastle. So Newcastle's a fairly new legend. And he basically, well, tries his best to build castles. So he also has the same quirks as Gibraltar and Caustic, where he takes 15% reduced damage and isn't slowed down by bullets. His passive is, oh yeah, he is a support legend now too. So his passive allows him, when reviving, to use his knockdown shield, because in the game you can get knockdown shields. They have different levels, just like the Evo shields. So he will use his knockdown shield to protect the person he's reviving and you. And not only that, but he can also move around while doing that too. So when you're reviving with Newcastle, you can actually get away from the situation, which is a good ability. Then his tactical is a one-time use before it recharges. It's basically a movable wall. You throw down this little thing. It makes a tiny wall that you can hide behind. You can't shoot through it, the opponents can't shoot through it, but they can damage it, and then eventually it will break. But if the opponents don't break it, then it'll just despawn. but you can move it around by clicking on a location, and it will move to that location, and you can just hide behind it and, well, not be damaged by it. And then his ultimate is, well, his castle walls. He can do this big jump, go to an area, and basically he'll make a little area filled with castle walls, which are really hard to break if shooting them, but if you punch them, they get broken really easily for some reason. But you can hide behind them, you can heal behind them. It's it's useful, but it's not really good because it doesn't actually cover the back of you or the sides of you, it just covers the front of you. But it can be used to like block doors and trees and stuff. Plus it electrifies any enemies that are near it too. But in my opinion, Newcastle is a bad legend. So now we have Octane, which was the first legend to be released after the game was released legend. Oh, yeah. So he's a skirmisher, and okay, so his passive. What was his passive again? What is his passive? I forget his passive. This is awkward. What was Octane's passive again? Oh yeah, that's right. So Octane's passive allows him to regenerate his health over time, and it comes in handy, especially after you hear his tactical. Now his tactical is actually pretty much an infinite use. If you use it once, it'll stay for a couple seconds, then you can pretty much instantly use it again. And this is like the only legend that has this ability too. So basically it's a stim. You put it, he sticks it in him, and he basically gets this ridiculous speed boost. And I mean ridiculous. He can run super fast after that. But the price for having this amazing ability is you have to pay or like take a bit of damage for doing that too, which is why it's the passive regeneration. Then his ultimate is a jump pad, which is pretty self-explanatory. You put it down, you can run onto it, and then it launches you forward or upwards. But yeah, it's very handy. He's super fun to play, especially because of how like fast you can go. You can run away, you can run into battles, annoy your opponents because he's Octane. So Octane is fun to play. I don't really play him a lot, but he is fun to play. Then you've got Pathfinder, another one of the original legends. He is an expert in grapples and stuff, so his passive is completely garbage. Well, it used to be. Now Pathfinder gets a speed boost on his zip lines. I'm pretty sure that's his new passive. But his original passive, no, I'm pretty sure his passive didn't change. His passive is he can scan recon beacons and instantly get his ultimate. Which is good, but it's completely useless to his character. And he is a skirmisher, by the way. Pathfinder is a skirmisher. Then his tactical is one-time use before it recharges. It is a grappling hook, so you can grapple onto something, and then, well, obviously it works like a grappling hook. It brings you to where you grappled. And then his ultimate is a zipline, so you can, and this got a major buff. It is ridiculous now. You can have it go very far away, so you put it down from where you're standing to a place you can land, where it can land on, and then you can, well, zipline to where it landed, or where it's been placed. And now Pathfinder gets a speed boost on there too, so now he goes double speed when he's on it. And with this new update, Pathfinder is super fun to use, like super fun, and I actually recommend using him. Then we're moving on to Rampart, which is my friend's main. And so Rampart's passive allows her to reload light machine guns and miniguns faster than any other legend. I'm pretty sure there's some synopsis with those two. I think it's like the recoil doesn't affect it as much. But the first one is the main one. Then Tactical, which you can use 2 times, I'm pretty sure, before having to wait for it to recharge. It basically places down walls, small walls, which you can block doors with, which is really good. And then there's a little window, kind of like a window that you can shoot through, but your opponents can't shoot through the other side of it. But they can break it. And basically, if you shoot through the wall for you, then the bullets, I'm pretty sure they get they get increased damage. I think it might be double damage? I don't know. But it's actually very handy. And then her ultimate is like the best part about her. It's her minigun Sheila. And, well, it's a minigun. It has lots of bullets, and it pretty much kills people instantly. Very, very exciting. And very, very fun to use. But to me, Rampart is an okay legend. She's also a defense legend too, by the way. I keep forgetting to say what type of legend there. But yeah, she's a defense legend. She's just, I don't know, I think she's okay. Now, obviously, if you ask my friend, she'd be up here, but... so moving on, we have Revenant, who is an assault legend. And he's nightmarish, by the way. His passive allows him to crawl faster, and he can also climb buildings. Like, he can literally scale buildings just by climbing on the walls. It's terrifying. And I have been jump scared by Revenants before. So for Revenant's Tactical, it is a 2-time use before you have to wait again. And it's basically a silencer, so if you throw it down, and if it hits somebody, it damages them by 10, and it actually stops them from using all of their abilities, even their passive. And that can come in handy, let me tell you. Like, you can even stop Lifeline's reviving bot. Like, it's amazing. And then Revenant's ultimate is a death totem, so you put it down, and then you can click on it, and you basically become, in the game they're called shadows, and they're basically like a second life. So you run up to somebody, you can shoot them, you can even use your abilities, but if you die or from the opponent shooting you, you just respawn back at the totem with all your gear and stuff, but you have a little bit of health damage taken away from you. And yeah, Revenant is pretty fun to use in my opinion. I actually just recently got a really good skin for him too, which makes him, well, it just obviously improves his look and appearance and stuff, but yeah, he's pretty fun to use. He's also a cyborg, but in the game they're called simulacrums, which is really cool too. Legends backstories are really cool. So then we're moving on to Seer, and he was released in Season 10. That was actually when I started playing. And Seer is, well, basically, he's a recon legend, and he basically, well, sees through walls like every other recon. Well, not every other recon, but... So his passive allows you to... Oh, what was it? Oh, yeah. Okay, so you can zoom in, and you can basically see the heartbeats of your opponents. Now, Respawn literally just nerfed him, and it was useless before, but in my opinion it was useless before, but now it is like literally useless. You rarely ever pick up their heartbeats and stuff, and it's like ridiculously hard to find them. And then his tactical is a one-time use before it recharges. And it's a really small scanning thing. You only really pick up one person when you use this, but it's almost like a cylinder. And if anybody's inside the cylinder, it stops whatever they were doing, like reviving and healing and stuff. But then it also scans them for a little bit and shows them how much health they had and stuff. Now that is also ridiculously hard to aim Chew, because it is super small Chew, so if you miss, you just miss. And well, then obviously your tactical is just wasted there. Then his ultimate, he throws down a little, it's like his little thing right in the middle of his chest here, I don't know what he calls it. But he throws it down, and then this big dome appears, and you can basically see where people are walking inside of it. Now that is just like slightly okay in my opinion. It's like you can see where people are walking, but if you're crouching, you actually can't. And that is normally what I do. Actually, normally I just walk. I don't know why. If I'm healing and stuff, I crouch down, but if I'm walking inside his dome, I normally just walk. But yeah, if you crouch down inside the dome, people can't see you. And yes, in my opinion, Seer's just trash. He's just absolute garbage. I remember telling my friend, Seer, when the developers were trying to look for ideas for a legend, they were looking through the trash bin, and then they found Seer. And we were like, oh well, I guess we can make him a legend. And that's what they basically made him do. He's literally a worse version of every recon legend in the game. And this is just my opinion on this too. Plus, like, he's not fun to use either. Like, Bloodhound, like you actually have fun hunting people down and stuff, and trying to figure out where they are and stuff. Seer's just like, oh well, I already know where they are. I can just scan them with my ridiculously nerfed heart tracker thingy Jager Bobber, which I forget the name of. But yeah, Seer is just complete trash. Like, I don't know why anybody even bothers playing him in the first place. So then we'll be moving on to Valkyrie, who used to be a recon legend like Pathfinder, but was moved into the skirmisher class, and her main scene is her jetpack. So her passive is a jetpack. Nerfed. She was also nerfed a lot. I mean, like a lot. A lot of people say she's useless now. So her jetpack has fuel, and if it runs out of fuel, you just drop back to the ground. May I also say that there's no fall damage in this game too, which is amazing. But yeah, that's her passive. And then she also, when in the air, she can scan people, which she doesn't really need now that she's a skirmisher. Like, it made sense when she was a recon, but now that she's a skirmisher, she doesn't need it. But yeah, her tactical is a missile launcher, so you can aim it and then it'll fire missiles in a little area. And if you're hit by them, then you get stunned and you take a small bit of damage. And then her ultimate, basically, it's a, well, you click on her, your teammates can click on her and then join her, and then you go skyrocketing up into the sky, and then you can basically free fall back down to the ground when you jump, just like when you jump out of the when you start the game basically. And it's a good way to get around too. But Valkyrie, in my opinion, is just okay. She's just okay in my opinion. Then we have Vantage, which is another recon legend, and basically she's her her expertise is like a snipers. So her passive. What's her passive again? Oh yeah. So whenever she zooms in with weapon, she can see and she finds an enemy. She can see what level their shields are. She can actually also see how many people are left in their team too, which is really good. Then her tactical is one-time use, but you can. It's kind of like also like Crypto's drone. You can recall it and redeploy it. It's that little bat right there, and you can throw it out, and then you can hold the same button you used to throw out the bat, and you can jump right up to it, which is really good for getting like height advantage. And then her ultimate is a sniper, which you get over time and get more bullets for it too. It's more like another weapon than an actual ultimate ability, kind of like Rampart's minigun. But I find Vantage is fun to play, in my opinion. Then we have Watson, who's another defense legend. She doesn't have the quirk that Caustic, Gibraltar, and Newcastle have, though. So for her, she specializes in electricity, and her passive. What's her passive? Oh yeah, her passive is that she slowly regenerates shields over time. So it's kind of like the opposite of Octane's health regeneration. But then her tactical is almost like Caustic's traps, but instead of traps, it's fences. So she can basically put up electrical fences, and anybody walks through them gets stunned temporarily and takes damage. Also, if any doors are opened inside the fences, then they will break. And then her ultimate is it's like a little station. When you're near it, your shields are regenerated little quickly, and also I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, any abilities or grenades thrown in the area radius of the little station, because it has a radius too, they just don't activate and they're just completely stopped. So if you like threw caustic gas grenade in there, it wouldn't activate. If you threw Revenant Silencer in it, it wouldn't activate. Any grenades in there? Nope. It just stopped. And Watson is my third and favorite legend to play. So yeah, my three main legends are Caustic, Bloodhound, and Watson because of how fun they are. I really like defense legends. And then finally, we have the Wraith, and sadly I couldn't find a picture of a bald Wraith. But Wraith is portals and stuff, so her passive is the ability to sense if people are near her or if people are like aiming at her and stuff, which is pretty good. Then her tactical is a one-time use before it recharges again. You basically disappear into a like into the void, which she calls it, but when she's in the void, you can't see her, and you also, other than like a little trail, and you also can't damage her either. Nothing affects her, and you stay in there for a little while, and then you pop back out again. And then there's like a little animation that plays after that too, kind of like Loba's bracelet, but it's shorter than that. Then her ultimate is a portal basically. So she places one right where she was when she activated it, and then she can move around to wherever she wants to place the other entrance to the portal, and then you can basically travel between the portals. But to me, I think Wraith is okay just because I don't really like the play style of her. But yeah, that is my Apex Legends tier list. I know a lot of you probably won't agree with this, and you can like tell me your three main legends in the comments down below. But yeah, this is my Apex Legends tier list. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.